Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first One of the Cloud presents. Yes, we've changed the name. It's One of the Cloud now, which is this new digital platform. There's a website, oneofthecloud.com, where you can go and you can find out all the information that you need about using all of these wonderful digital apps that help you with your accounting, all in one space. It's like a beautiful thing that we've created. And this is the first one under that title. And today, Laura and I are happy to welcome Freddie from Dext. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Now,
Hi,
just
Freddie.
in case any of you are wondering why Laura's that way round and there's got a bit of black, it's technology for you. Sometimes it does go wrong. And in this case, her microphone didn't work on her PC, so we will get that sorted out for another time. But
We're
Laura,
stay calm, cool, and collected.
got to stay calm, got to stay cool. That's the way forward. Laura, just in case people haven't met you before, just explain who you are.
Who hasn't met me? Show yourself. I am Laura Everson, aka Zero Queen. I should be Dext Queen as well, though, because I'm as passionate about Dext, if not more, in a way. Because Dext is where all the magic happens before even entering Zero. So I have a few businesses in the accountancy and bookkeeping sector. I'm passionate about helping business owners, helping them with their business, helping it to grow, and supporting them.
Fantastic. And Freddie, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, nice to meet everyone. My name is Freddie. I've been at Dext for about 3.5 years now, helping to help businesses and accountants automate their bookkeeping and accounting. Prior to that, I did actually work in accounting. So I used to work in practice. We used to use, it was called Receipt Bank at the time. So I helped embed Receipt Bank into the business. We helped a lot of businesses digitize their processes, get rid of all the physical receipts, ultimately saved a lot of time, but we'll go into a bit more detail how all of that works shortly, I imagine. But yeah, so I love Receipt Bank so much that I thought, hey, I wonder if they've got any jobs going. And I made the jump over to Dext. And we're called Dext now. We did a rebrand back in 2021. So some people know us previously known as Receipt Bank, but we're now called Dext. And we actually have 3 products in the suite. So we're Dext, but Dext Prepare is the one that I think we're going to be focusing on today. But we do have Dext Commerce as well, which is a platform for e-commerce businesses. So if you have any platforms like Etsy, Amazon, eBay, we automate that. Dext Prepare mainly focuses on the cost side of it. And like Laura said, we help to capture data and push that into Zero. So that's my journey so far. I work with people like Laura to help their businesses implement Dext in the most efficient way possible.
Why the name change? Was it because people just assumed you only did kind of one thing?
Yes, yeah, in essence. So we acquired a company called Xavier Analytics a few years ago. So we had Receipt Bank, Xavier. It started to get a bit confusing of like who we were. So we went for a rebrand, which would then house both products underneath that. So we're now Dext, and we've got Dext Prepare, Dext Precision at the time, because our business strategy was to acquire other businesses and build a bit of a platform, which we're currently in the process of still growing. So yeah.
Do you know what? It seems like it's so funny hearing you say Receipt Bank now. I mean, we were all.
Are you used to Dext now? Are you?
Oh, I can't even. I've just gone when you said Receipt Bank, and I was Receipt Bank, and I was like, "Why have you done this?" Because I had a lot of my own branding done with Receipt Bank on. I was like, "I've got to change all this, and how am I going to get clients to like start calling it this, and how am I going to start calling it?" And you know what? It just shows, doesn't it? With a bit of time and perseverance, it's like Receipt Bank never existed, and it's just Dext.
Oh, here we go. Richard saying, good morning, everyone from Newcastle upon Tyne, a Dext and Zero user. There we go.
Yay, we love Richard.
there we go. You see, they're out there. It's actually because, and I throw everything back to music. It's actually, Freddie, because your favourite band is Dexty's Midnight Runners. There you go. So, yeah, you're going to tell us a little bit about Dext, how Dext works. But, I mean, look, there's still people out there let's go to the receipts first. There are still people out there with shoe boxes full of receipts. What are they doing? Why?
Well, do you know, even when I do get them very odd clients that come and say, oh, I've got all this paperwork, all I do or have one of my team doing is just capturing it all onto Dext anyway. It's going to end up on Dext. I think any accountant and bookkeeper would do that if they had clients bringing paperwork to them. It's still going to go on there. But I mean, it's so easy. It's a way of life. You've captured your receipt that's in your hand. As soon as you've got it, you bin it and forget about it. You know, it's done. It's all uploaded and it's all saved on the cloud for the term that you need to legally save it for, which is like 6 years, isn't it?
Freddie, at this point, do you want to share screen a little bit? Do you want to just kind of talk us through like the basis of that?
Yeah, sure. So, like Laura said, you might be a business currently who are out on the road collecting receipts from petrol stations, or you go into your supplier collecting physical receipts. What Dext does is it enables you to collect them on the road. So we have a mobile app which is really popular. As you have collect a receipt, you can take a picture of it immediately. This enables accountants like Laura to see that data in real time. This is a massive part of Dext as well. So not just digitizing receipts, but also allowing you to get the information into your accounting system in real time. Especially useful now, obviously, with the economic climate, having a real-time view of your finances is really important. So getting that data in, if you've got loads of receipts sitting in a box, that's not actually showing in your Xero or your QuickBooks or whatever accounting system you use. So it's going to be really difficult to make business decisions based on that data. So that there's not just a case of, I need to save some time with like bookkeeping, but also the effect of that when it gets into the accounting system is also really important.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of that, how is AI changing with that? I mean, is it getting more and more intelligent as well? Is it just a case of it snaps it and then you have to do all of the granulation of that, or is it using more and more AI in order to pull information across automatically?
I've seen Dext capture some of the worst receipts that I think there's no way
in the world. Yeah.
You know what, them ones that have been like in a glove box or scrumpled up or faded. I mean, it obviously, like anything, it has its capabilities, but honestly, it's the best capturing software I've ever seen. It's even if there's a line, a crease mark on a number, like 8 is a popular one, the number 8, because it can be picked up as 0. So obviously we do always say to clients, check everything. We do that with everything that we do in life. You should check it, shouldn't you? Don't just rely on it. But honestly, yeah, I'm so surprised at how good the capabilities are of it. It can really capture the worst of the worst. I've seen it.
Yeah,
I love that. A little bit of magic in the day.
Yeah. It's funny, when we first started, I wasn't here at that time, but back in 2010, we used to do it all manually. So it would be a case of sending receipts to receipt. It was called Receipt Bank, Receipt Farm at the time.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and so you'd send a physical load of receipts in the post to Receipt Farm. They would type all the receipts out and send
Freddie,
you back.
I always think that whenever I'm like putting loads of data in, but it's big facts. I always think there's some poor little person somewhere that's typing all this in.
Yeah, definitely not anymore. Definitely not anymore. We've got 1.2 million users now. We have millions and millions of submissions every month. So yeah, unfortunately we can't use an actual person to do it, but our machine learning is market leading. We still have, if there's a physical receipt, there is sometimes a case that it gets through to a physical person just to say, okay, yeah, it's this, because sometimes, like Laura said, it is illegible and you need someone to check it. But we're getting that is smaller and smaller. We're at above 99% now in terms of extraction accuracy, which is nearly perfect.
Is that one of the reasons why it is so accurate? Because at some point there you use the kind of big people data that you had going on alongside AI, and you use that to learn from it and go, this is what this is, this is what this is. This is
Exactly.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's important to say like what it captures as well. So it will literally capture every single piece of information on the receipt. It will populate any invoice number or transaction number. It will populate the supplier. It will take the amount. It will take the VAT if there's VAT on the receipt. If there's not VAT on the receipt, you can drop down to select 20% VAT and things like that. It will take everything, that the date, obviously everything, due dates if it's invoice receipts, it will take out the due date, so it populates all of that, takes everything.
And what about in terms of where that needs to go within your accounts as well? Does it prompt anything to do with that, or do you need to then put that granulation in there in terms of this is this kind of expense?
So again, it's learned behavior, isn't it, Freddie? It will start to, you can also set it up with certain suppliers, should always be coded to this cost center in chart of accounts. So you can set up supplier rules. There's people that, like with Xero, like with any technology, to say, yeah, I'm using that. And then I like to challenge and go, but are you using it? Like, and when you show them,
or is everything going to every other expense? You know?
Yeah, because some people are like, oh yeah, I take a picture and I put it on Dext. Great, that's step one. Let's go to the next step. Let's automate the out of this. No,
yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it's the main thing about Dext is obviously the accuracy is what we focus on. But once it's in the system, yeah, like you said, Laura, the supplier rules you can set up. So we'd definitely suggest to get all the rules set up. So you imagine you've taken a picture of a receipt from Booker's, for example, or maybe that's not the best example because it goes to different categories, but something like BT, right? It's going to go to telephone. It's going to go to 20% VAT. We know that always goes to the same place. So we can set a rule in Dext to say automatically categorize this for us because we don't want to have to do that every time. And one step further than that, if you're really confident that that category never changes, you can also auto publish it into Xero, which is completely hands off, you know.
Don't be sharing secrets that we get all this auto publishing. I sit there and I think long and hard about my bookkeeping.
Well, saying that, it can't be done for all transactions. This is obviously a small number because most of them you do have to check. They go to different places, but there is an element that you can automate. I mean, it allows people like Laura to spend more time on the higher value conversations instead of having to deal with where does BT go to kind of thing. So yeah, that's why we've made.
It saves so much time at year end as well, doesn't it? You know, it's not, we don't just talk about real time here as you know, much as we want everybody to be in real time. But can you imagine your accountant sitting down at year end? If they're really proactive, they'll be filing your accounts within a couple of months of year end. But for some, and that can be no fault of the accountants, it can be non-cooperation from a client, it can be 9 months after year end. If I've then got to go to a client and go, you know, this receipt that you spent £500 on in January 21, what was it? Why did you spend that? They're like, are you messing? Like, you just can't go back to somebody all that time later and ask them to try and remember what a receipt was for. So it just, you know, it makes life so simple and so easy just doing it as you go.
No, it really does. Freddie, if you can get ready to share your screen in a minute and give us a little demonstration. The other thing is that I'm going to ask, real end user kind of question here, is sometimes you get a receipt from a company and the company name isn't the name of the brand, if you know what I mean. Can you put little notes on there as well to go remind you? Because, you know, it's like I went to Home Sense. No, sorry, it wasn't Home Bargains. I do apologize, the other day. And of course, they're called TJ Power. How confusing is that? You know, but, you know, you want to be able to know that's when I go to there, don't you? So you can make kind of notes like that on there.
Yeah, you can put notes in a description box on there as well. Yeah, there's notes. I mean, the supplier will always be whatever is on the receipt or the invoice. You can change it. You can edit anything within there, whatever it picks up, you can change it. But yeah, you can put little notes in there. That's really useful if clients want to put the receipt on Dext for me to go in and then, you know, continue the journey for them. And they might say, spent this because I went for a coffee with such and such client. So it's really helpful.
Or they've, it's only one item on that receipt that
this
they
was
need
not
to claim for.
personal, Laura. This was business. I promise.
Yeah. All of those rubber ducks that I bought from there, I'm not putting those through, but I am putting that line of stationery through, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. You can even do that, because a lot of people say that. They say, well, I went to a garage, it's a popular one. I got me petrol. I couldn't be bothered paying twice, splitting it out. So you can split out receipts as well. So you can say, yeah, that's business, 100% allowable through the business. That was personal, having that.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense, because don't put the personal stuff through, folks.
The main thing I love to get the message across to as well is how much money it can save, not only on time, but we have to talk about VAT. Now, you wouldn't believe how many people lose so much money on VAT reclaims every month because we can't put it through if we haven't got the receipt. You can't claim back on something if you can't prove that the receipt, proof of purchase. So it shows that how much money you can lose if you go and spend £500 on an item. Don't give a receipt for that. Wow, it all adds up across the month. It
really does. Right, Freddie, let's try this. Freddie, you should be able to present. Show your screen.
Yeah, let me show
add it to the broadcast.
So let me go to make sure I share the right one.
What have you got open,
Freddie? Could be interesting.
Is this the right one?
Go.
Yeah. Does that look like Dext on your screen? Yeah, I can see it.
That really does.
Hey, the detail on receipts is interesting. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. So, for those of you who haven't seen this before, this is Dext Prepare, and this is what you'd see on your desktop version. So there is an app version as well. This is the desktop version. So you imagine you've been spending the month taking pictures of receipts. I'll show you the other methods of collection now as well. They all start to store in Dext Prepare, and we extract all the data. So first step, import the information. Mobile app, they list here. And then you've also got the option to add documents in different ways. So if I click on here, you can see we have a PDF upload option. So maybe you've got a PDF on your desktop, on your Mac. You can just simply drag and drop that over. You can drag and drop multiple page invoices and it will automatically split it out. And this is a fairly new feature, but if you've got loads of multi-page invoices and single page invoices, you can also upload them. We'll split it out for you automatically. So yeah, really useful if you do have a big pile of receipts and you just want to get it onto the system. You don't have to snap it with a phone. You can just scan it in. You've also got the connect to supplier. So we've got an invoice fetch. So if you've got a BT login, you can log in through BT. Will automatically fetch the data. And then the last one here. I love
fetch. Fetch is like, just to let everyone know how powerful that can be, because there's certain suppliers now who won't even send you an invoice. You have to go and retrieve it in your portal. Now, I'm one of them people who's not going to go in and do that. So it's too much of an effort logging in, remember passwords, downloading it. And it connects with, how many suppliers have you got now on Fetch, Freddie?
2,500, 3,000 suppliers.
Wow. You can literally search for like anything and it will find it.
And that's mostly sort of like utilities, service-based industries, etc.
Some clients that we have using it a lot are in the trades and construction sector, because they all use like building suppliers.
Bradford's, Wicks,
others are available. They all connect up to that because the high volume, the high number of transactions, all the time. And let's be realistic, they're not the best.
Wow.
People in the trades and construction, I'm sorry to generalize you, but
you're absolutely right. We've talked about this before. My father-in-law's desk. Yeah, I shall send it, but I shall get a picture sometime.
Yeah, when I was back in practice, they were the worst to receive generally. Big bag of receipts. They used to smell quite rogue as well, but let's not get into that. So yeah. Connect to supplier is one of the options. Send through email is another really popular option as well. So you get an email from a supplier. We have a unique email address. So you can send directly to Dext. Another top tip, if you're a business and you've got a supplier, you can actually get the supplier to CC this email in. So you don't even have to forward it to Dext. You can just send it, go straight into Dext. Or you can set up an auto forward from your email. So there's really a lot of ways here that you can start to cut down the time that you're spending on these methods that you're doing at the minute that are taking too long, I imagine. And then obviously we've got the mobile app as well. So lots of different methods to get it in. Once you set this up at the start, it starts to roll in. That's when you can start to see a lot of the time savings. So once
doesn't Dext show us as well? Does it still do that? I haven't looked at it for quite a while, Freddie, but it used to show you how much time you'd saved as well.
Yeah, that's in Orange Select, so you can go in there and tell you based on how many invoices you upload, how much time you've saved. So it's a good one to work out yourself. So work out how long it would take you normally to do an invoice, multiply that by how many invoices you have, and then test that against Dext, and you should see some good time saving. And that's why I love Dext, really, because I've seen it genuinely change people's lives. Which it sounds a bit dramatic for like a software, but if you're spending a day a week doing the bookkeeping, or even a day a month, you can be spending that time doing a lot more interesting stuff. Working on your business. Maybe you want to take a day off and play golf or spend time with the kids. That's where this becomes really powerful, I think.
You spot my clients a mile off, because
they're on the golf course.
My clients are literally them people who have their phone in the hand and they've took the picture. They're like, before it's even literally handed over. My husband's always laughs, like, we've not even, as soon as he gets into the car, passed me the receipt, he hasn't even turned the ignition to start the car, and I'm like, done.
Can I ask a quick question there? Will we see in the future, do you think we'll see a sort of decrease in the amount of physical photos that people are going to need to take for receipts? And because I go to one of my supermarkets down the road, who shall remain nameless, but actually I don't get a physical receipt anymore. I get a digital receipt now. Are we going to see more of that going forwards, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we have the other methods. So I think physical receipts will still be here for a while. They are already decreasing quite heavily. Like you just said there, you can get an email receipt now. I usually opt for an email receipt if they offer it. So it's definitely decreasing. But like I said, there's other methods to get it in. But definitely going that way.
Okay.
For sure.
So we'll
as Freddie said, you could just give over your Dext email address. Everybody has their own personal Dext email,
and then
address.
It comes straight into Dext.
Yeah. Doesn't even need to come to your email. Just send it straight to Dext.
How good is that?
I know, life is good.
Good. So once you've done the magic bit and you've got it into Dext by one of the methods, the more magic bit happens, I suppose, which is that we look at the receipt and we're able to take all of this information and extract it. And we do that because it's really important for selecting the right categories, the right VAT, ready to publish into your accounting software. And we haven't mentioned, but we integrate with, or Dext Prepare integrates with Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, Cashflow, FreeH, so all of that, the major accounting softwares.
Or just Xero.
Or just Xero. If you're in Laura's case, the Xero Queen has spoken. Or you can download as a CSV if you haven't got a software. So what we try to create here is a system that works across all clients. So people like Laura, if she did want to break out and into different softwares, we've got a lot of practices who have multiple softwares. We wanted it to be one area for accountants to be able to use. So we downloaded a CSV, integrate with different softwares for that reason. Not in Laura's case, obviously, but in other people's case.
I'm joking, of course. It's fully inclusive. Dext is fully inclusive.
Yes,
Laura's not, but Dext is.
Oh dear. So you can see on the right hand side here, we've got the date, the supplier, so we pick that out automatically. Due date, the category here. So this is where the important bit comes. What category do we want to select in Xero? and this is all pulled from Xero, this information. You know, we've got the tax
so
rate.
if you've got your own chart of accounts set up, which a lot of people often do, tailored to their own business, then we can just it just imports their chart of accounts into Dext and goes off that.
So if it's pulling supplier information, is there reporting on spend within Dext itself, or do you do all of that within the software that you then send this to?
So that's more done within Xero, I would say. So this is more like the pre-Xero collection of data. You can run like a list of all the suppliers, a list of all the information from each supplier, and download that. But yeah, this is more like pulling the information into Xero. So we'd usually suggest to do the reporting from Xero.
Okay, cool.
We do, but do you know what? Actually, only last night, a perfect example of that. I've got a client who's been working on a big project, just one building construction job. And he was like, Laura, I need to know what my expenditure has been on this project. I didn't go to Xero. I went to Dext and I pulled off from that time scale from the 1st of January 22 until today's date. I pulled off all his expenses from Dext. I went, there you go, in like 30 seconds. So yeah, there'll be ways in which it would be good to go to Dext first if you were just working on, you know, one project or something.
Yeah, oh, that's good to know. So was that downloading the receipts for him, or the totals of the?
It was downloading all of the receipts, all of the transactions. Yeah.
I guess for things like building projects and whatever, that's really helpful because, you know, I'm working for this period on this project, so you know.
He's pretty sure that, you know, the majority. It was easier because the majority of his expenses have been on this one project. So it was easier to just look at all the expenses in Dext and he'll be able to take out what is not relevant rather than look for what is relevant.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's a good point as well. Like we've got the archive here, all the data that's ever been put into Dext is in the archive. You can search, advanced search certain suppliers, certain names of suppliers in there. So it'll bring up certain date ranges. So yeah, you can definitely do a lot of searching. No having to like, when I first started working in practice, I had to put lots of receipts in date order, put them into a folder and put them on a shelf. And that was my job when I first started. And so to find an invoice, you'd have to, you know, go to the right folder and flip through and do. Obviously with this, you just search in, which is a lot quicker.
Another example, last week I had a client who said to me, oh, Laura, do you remember I got the blinds for the office last July or August? What was it? What have you got the receipts? Blah blah blah. And I just went into Dext, search blinds, and I come up with the blinds company and the actual receipts. Do you think I'm like Wonder Woman? I get a lot of credit for these softwares.
The power of a system. Yeah, absolutely. Is there a sort of user size or size of kind of transaction where you would start wanting to use something like Dext, would you say?
No, we have people, sole traders, really small businesses. Just we're trying to educate them to get into this way for when you go big. So it's helpful for any size of business, from a very small startup sole trader right the way up.
Yeah, and I guess part of that is really dependent upon not just the size of the business, but how much in terms of transaction you're doing. You know, if you're going out there and buying all of the time, you know, invoicing a lot. If you're doing a lot of paperwork, basically, then immediately you're going to save a huge amount of time.
Massively. It also picks up currency conversions as well. So we have clients who travel abroad for business and they're spending in, you know, dollars in whatever the Emirates one is. I'm not the best at currency conversions. But it will pick up, you know, anything currency wise. So it works with that. It's got the drop down there, hasn't it, on the amount, Freddie? It's got the conversion there, so it will all populate to GBP, but then you can select if it's another. If you want to convert it.
Yeah,
no, absolutely, brilliant.
That description box that's there, so that's where you can put any notes if you wanted to communicate from business owner to bookkeeper, accountant, or even just notes for yourself. It's useful to put, you know, bit more information on what the item was, you know, why you purchased it even, or, you know, because some invoices are not very clear. It might just be a generic line.
Yeah, definitely useful if, you know, you've maybe got a business and personal expense in the same item and you want to tell the accountant, hey, this rubber duck was business use for some reason.
Take my vape off that receipt. Take my ciggies off the receipt.
They help you work, don't they? You're more productive with ciggies. It's fine. I think it's
one of the questions people will ask about any system, Freddie, is about security. What kind of security is there on the data here?
Yeah, so obviously with 1.2 million users, we have to have quite stringent procedures in place to make sure that the safety of the data is there. Yeah, we use AWS, who deal with all of that for us. We also have an internal team that are always looking at that. So yeah, we have that in hand internally. But if you want to look in a bit more detail around that, if you just type in Dext security onto Google, we've got a whole page on our website of how we deal with the data.
AWS is Amazon Web Services, by the way, for anyone watching that doesn't know that abbreviation. So so data's very locked down. Yeah, sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, data's very locked down. Lots of submissions, lots of users. So we obviously have to make sure that that's all, secure. But yeah, in terms of the product,
you can have a number of different users as well. So it doesn't just have to be a business owner. If you've got a large team, I've just done completed a project for a really large organization, which has a lot of users, and they use an expense reports. So the users can actually submit their receipts and they can send it to an approver for someone to approve that expense. You can have all different levels of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? All different levels within the organization, within the business, just basically basic users, submitters, approvers, you know, to sign things off.
Yeah.
But it's accessible to everybody within the business, you know, which makes it easier on you're not relying on one person in the office to do a job.
Yeah, 100%. It's what one of the features that I was about to talk about, actually. Expense reports, you can either send it directly into the accounting software, or like Laura said, if you've got a team, we use it internally at Dext. So you know, if I'm at the pub and I'm going for drinks and it's work related, then I will take a picture of the receipt, and it will automatically populate my expense report for the month. So there's no me having to do anything with it. It goes straight into the expense report, and that's how we obviously suggest other businesses to use it as well. Again, just saving time in the process. So yeah, straight into Xero or into an expense report, which then goes into Xero for you to be reimbursed.
Brilliant. And does it glow red if you've gone over a certain amount? So the owner of the business goes, spending a bit too much time in the pub.
Fortunately not. No, there's a bit of trust. There's a bit of trust.
Yeah, which is good.
I think that's one of the main things. Is obviously Dext is all about purchases. It's all about costs to the business, and no business owner likes costs to their business. Nobody likes spending time on their expenses and on what they're paying out. So to make this as pain-free and, you know, cost-effective as possible is vital.
Yeah.
100%. We also have, this is a feature that not many people know about, but what we're really keen on at Dext is like the communication as well between the business and the accountant. And, you know, if Laura's got a question about something, she can message you directly from Dext, and it'll pop up on your phone to say, Laura's questioning this rubber duck purchase. Can you please confirm if it's business or private? And so it enables you to like give information to your accountant, really efficiently. And that obviously in turn allows Laura or whoever's doing the bookkeeping, accounting, to put the data into Xero as efficiently as possible, which again, you can then look at your Xero and you can rely on that profit figure, that cash figure as well. You know, cash flow is a big thing at the minute. Really important to get this data in as efficiently as possible. And all these different features we're showing you now, that's the end goal really. It's just to make sure that it's in there compliantly, in there as efficiently as possible, to allow you to run your business as effectively as possible, really.
And that must be quite useful for you as well, Laura, because that's coming from within the Dext system, presumably.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we just want things to be as simple and as easy as possible. We always say it, you know, business owners, a lot of the time, they go into owning a business not because they want to be a business owner, because it's their passion of whatever they do, their job. You know, there's a lot of people, like, as we've said again, trades, construction, they just like building houses. They don't want to run a business. It's not what their strengths are. So yeah, it's just make life as simple and as easy as possible and as quick.
Yeah.
But I assume as well, when that message comes through to you, it's kind of linked back into the Dext system as well. So it's not like it's an email somewhere that's lost, if you like, and then you've then got to kind of give that information back, and then they go back into the Dext system. It all kind of stays within the system somehow. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. So they're all the messages are contained. It's actually on the invoice as well. So the message will come up and it will have the invoice next to it. So yeah, just makes it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
For it to be amended if necessary. So yeah.
And I think that's a really important point about a lot of these systems as well. We read a lot these days about, or we talk a lot about things like neurodiversity out there and people having different kind of styles. But actually, for a lot of people, kind of having too many systems, if you like, of communication, email, text, this, that, and not having that kind of information enclosed within a system where it's all held together is really difficult for a lot of people to actually cope with. And I think, you know, creating systems where the data is locked into a particular system and it's kind of held in that particular system so that everybody knows where the conversation is and where they can go back to that information is really vital for so many people, because otherwise, and there will be people out there watching this that go, yeah, I'm overwhelmed by information. And this is really important to use systems where you take that overwhelm from people. So when you say it changes people's lives, yeah, it really can, because it can actually completely de-stress people. Would you say that's right?
Well, honestly, like we have clients with, you know, disabilities, and just get them set up of making things as simple as possible, as automated as possible. I have a client who was recently diagnosed with ADHD, and she likes to have a grip on all of her finances, and she likes to try and understand, but she can become easily overwhelmed. And she purchases a lot of things off Amazon. So we connect. That used to stress her out, the thought of having to log into Amazon and download these invoices and get them to her accountant, and you know, things like that, because she's a fairly new client and it just wasn't working with her old accountant. And when I showed her, I mean, she messaged me, God love her, on a Saturday afternoon, I've just photoed a receipt onto Dext. And I was like, and you know what? It really makes you go, wow, I take these things for granted, like, every day, but that is life changing. She's genuinely over the moon that it's out of her head, that she can sleep well of a night. She's not like, so we connected obviously her Amazon account up to Dext. It's all just feeding in, and she's like, oh wow. Like, wow.
Because actually, you know, with ADHD, you can be hyper focused, but actually that hyper focus can also lead to, you know, a pressure that you're actually starting to over worry about things and over focus on, you know, the detail. And if you're not on top of that detail, then it you know, you feel like you're losing control. So it's really important for a lot of people. As you
say, it's too many things in too many different places. I can get like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm considering going through an ADHD diagnosis myself, because I think I've got a lot of tendencies. But yeah, it's like I can get overwhelmed if my phone starts like notifications from all social media apps, WhatsApps, emails, this, that. I'm like, what is going on? Leave me alone. So yeah, to have everything in one place, a full audit trail as well to look back on, and not have to re-ask questions that you've already asked. That's annoying. repeating yourself.
I'd say I have certain tendencies as well in that area. So, you know, being able to take a picture of a receipt, if you've got multiple things happening in a day, it's quite probable that you might forget about the first one and it's in your pocket, and you know, you find it a few weeks later and you think, oh, I didn't do that one, because at the time you sort of put it in there and you know, it's easily lost, right? And Laura's point earlier, where those lost receipts aren't just, oh, I forgot to do that, and you know, Laura's going to tell me off. It's, oh, you've just missed the VAT on that. That's going to actually come out of your pocket, you know, when you actually start to put that through to HMRC. So there's some real.
We have to make that so clear to clients. I think this is lost money. That expense, if you're not putting that receipt on there, you've just lost X amount of money. And it doesn't need to be that way with these systems in place. It just doesn't need to be.
I really love the well, one of the things that I've learned today, which I think is really brilliant about this system, is that kind of connectivity back to your own Dext email address. I think for a lot of people out there, this is going to be mind blowing. Not only can you take photographic evidence of a receipt, but you know, for all of those services now that just send you an email to say, here's your invoice, or here's your receipt for this, etc. Done. Right, just get it to send it to your Dext one. Why would you want that to your personal one anyway? You don't want it for your personal one. If it's business related, make it to your Dext one. Boom, there it is in the system. You don't even have to think about it then at all. Completely gone.
Set this up and you could send one email out to all your suppliers notifying them, this is my address, my Dext email address. Put everything in there. Leave me alone. I'm going on holiday. Bye.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just so people know, obviously, you know, if people are using people like Laura, then obviously, you know, they're going to get great customer support from her. Well, what other customer support is there from Dext as well? Yeah,
so we have, in terms of like product support, we have 24 hours a day, 5 days a week support if you get any issues or anything. So that's there for you, support@dext.com. We also have a lot of resources. So if you're logged into Dext Repair, you can see a resources tab in the top right. And if you go into there, we have how-to articles, YouTube videos. We also have, various, I already said articles, didn't I? Various videos, articles, how-to guides, and people like Laura as well. So we actually work really closely with accountants. So if you're a business today, we help people like Laura to understand how to use Dext, and then Laura then helps all of her businesses. So if you've got a good accountant like Laura, then you're in safe hands, and she'll be able to support as well. I hope I haven't thrown you under the bus there, Laura. You do support, don't you? Or Dext?
Oh yeah. Do you know what? That's a very recent conversation I've just had about that with somebody this morning. I mean, always happy to help, obviously. I deliver Dext training. And you know, I'm willing to support as well afterwards. There might need to be a cost in that support if it's ongoing, because I can't give my time for free all the time. But yeah, and you know, from my perspective, I've got a shout out to Dext. Only this week I went to my account manager and I said about this clients that I've just recently onboarded. They had no digital system in place whatsoever. Really large organization. I've got them all digital, and they're using Dext in a big way with expense reports and everything like that. And they fed back to me and said, "Oh, you can't approve the expense reports on the app." And I was like, "Oh no, really?" Because a lot of people don't always want to log on to a desktop. We said yesterday to this client, actually, we said, you know what? This is the way of the world now. You give people a little bit and they want much more, because they're like, oh, that's amazing. So can it do this, this, and this, and this? So it has to be ever growing and ever changing, ever evolving. And Dext really are. So my account manager came back to me within a couple of days and went, Laura, that's all going to be live in a couple of weeks. And I was like, yay. So, you know, I've been able to take on board what my clients fed back to me that would just make the experience a little bit better. Dext have took that on board, got to it straight away. Jobs are good. And so you're all very welcome when you see that Dext has now added expense approvals to your mobile app. You're welcome.
Yeah, and on that, it's probably good to mention in terms of feedback from our partners, we have in the top right hand corner, we've got a suggest a feature, and our product team look at this religiously, and whichever is the highest vote, we will then start to build them. So we've built hundreds of new features based on requests like that, based on requests from Laura. So our team are consistently working on making Dext as I suppose
we only know what we need when we
possible.
get to. We only know what we need when we get to what we need.
Yeah.
Don't we? It's just we go, oh, that'd be good. That'd be good.
Yeah.
And as we discussed, life is changing all of the time. The way that information is being shared is changing all the time. So these things constantly have to evolve. Freddie, Laura, it's been great talking today. Thank you so much for your time. Listen, if you've enjoyed this, do share it with other people. If you found it helpful, let us know. And this is now going to be available on the website, which is oneofthecloud.com. We're also going to be starting this as a podcast as well. So you'll be able to pick that up on things like Spotify and, subscribe there so you get next episodes as well. I hope this has made life feel a little bit less stressful for some of you out there today. If you've been struggling with the old shoe boxes and you want to transition seamlessly to a life where you can go and spend more time on the golf course, then you know what to do. Get in touch. Until next time, this has been One of the Cloud with Laura and Freddie and myself, Graham Cove. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.